By show of hands, how many of you wish you had more time in your life? Has anyone figured out how to add hours to a day? Has anyone figured out how to add quality of time to your day? So we can't add hours, but what we can do is we can change what we do with the hours that we have. Not just to our day, but the hours that we have in our life. We can find that we have this gift of time that we get to give back to whoever we want. It's been a journey of mine that sometimes that gift of time is hidden in plain sight. A couple weeks ago, I walked into the crowded theater. As I took a seat, the lights went down. As they did, the curtains opened. My perspective was widened. I was going to see the summer blockbuster that I've been waiting all year to see because my wife wouldn't go. I had to wait until she was away. I was awash with anticipation. My mind was flooded with eagerness and wonder. I wondered, would a cardboard bucket really protect my pants from that butter-like substance I slathered on my popcorn? And I wondered, why did I buy a vat of soda before a 3-hour movie? But most of all, I wondered, would that movie be as good as the book? As we all know, what's the answer to all three of those questions? No! Absolutely. But why is it? Why is the book always so much better than the movie? Do we need better actors? Do we need better writers? It's the experience. So when we read a book, we become immersed in the story and we help the author tell the tale. We get to be the one that casts the characters. We get to be the one that scouts the scenes. We get to be the one that brings the story to life in our own mind's eye. But when we watch a movie, all that's done. All that we get to do is be a passenger into somebody else's imagination. I think our life is a very similar type of journey. In our life, we have two choices. We can either become active participants and tell our own story, or we can let somebody else tell that story for us. Because the story of our life is not very different from the stories that we read, the stories we watch in the movies, or even the stories that we DVR so we can skip the commercials. The story of our life is told from the lens of imperfect characters that are struggling to get from where they are to where they're trying to go. And if we're lucky, we figure out how we can guide our own journey. But sometimes, isn't it so easy to get stuck? Isn't it so easy to get stuck listening to the voices of others? To become a Sherpa for other people's expectations? Loaded up with this baggage that we carry around that we were never meant to carry ourselves. And when that happens, we just become a passenger in someone else's imagination. In the story of your life, I want you to answer this question to yourselves. Are you writing it, or are you watching it unfold in front of you? Now, to understand my story, you have to go back to a very distant time, to a time that my nephew calls prehistoric. 10 years BTI, before the internet. He believes that dirt was invented 4 years after I was born. As I was trudging my way through high school, I had this question that kept coming up. What do I want to do with my life? If any of you still have that question you're still trying to figure out yourselves, Christmas, my senior year, I pulled my parents together, which was no small feat because they were divorced and hated each other. They came together I told them I had this giant announcement. And at dinner I stood up and I said, Mom, Dad, I know what I'm going to do with my life. I am going to go to college and become a teacher. Eventually, my father broke the silence, the tension. I always thought you'd be an accountant. An accountant. He knew I couldn't do math. But yet he had this dream for me. And I loved my father. So what do you think I did? Think I became a teacher?
No.
No! I went to school and became an accountant. Just 5.5 years after I enrolled in college, I graduated with a 4-year degree. So proud. Still more proud when I graduated in the top 70% of my class. Or the bottom 70% of my class. I don't know who was more surprised that I got a job as an accountant when I graduated. Me or the poor guy that hired me? The only thing that was worse than my passion for accounting was my skill in accounting. One day, I was safely ensconced in the back 40 of the Cube Farm, and I found myself sitting, reading yet another report that I did not understand. I had what I call my meerkat moment. In that moment, this wave rushed over me, and I realized I have got to get out of here. Not for the day. I've got to get out of here. If not for the good of me, for the good of taxpayers everywhere. I've got to get out of here. So I stood up, peered over the top. It's all clear. This is it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to go. This is it. I stood up again. I looked. Not a predator or a boss in sight. I sat down, grabbed my ID, jumped up, and ran out the door and into the rest of my life. When I walked outside, it was utter bliss. Because at that moment, I knew I was about to start telling my story from the first person. There's only one problem. I had to pay rent. And I just quit my job. So I did what anybody would do. I called home and I told my parents what I did. How excited was my father? First question, you're not moving back home, are you? So to alleviate everyone's tension, I took the first job I could find, which is how I became a retail manager. I can tell you are all impressed. See, I always told myself, I'm just going to do this for a couple of years until I figure out what I want to do with my life. Somewhere along the way, I stopped trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. Have you ever woken up one day and realized you're busy leading a life that's comfortable even though it doesn't fit and it's way out of style? I did. In 2007, I had been in retail for 20 years, and that temporary career was looking a lot more permanent than I was willing to admit. I came to Orlando, and I opened IKEA, their first employee in Florida. And when IKEA came here, people stood up and cheered. Not just because we had great meatballs, but because we now gave people the right to assemble their own furniture. We were so successful that just 3 years later, my boss was promoted to Sweden to work for Ingvar Kamprad, the founder of the company. It was the proudest moment of my career. 6 months later, my new boss called me into her office. Sweetie, thank you so much for all you've done for us, but today we're going to give you the greatest gift anyone can ever get, the gift of time. Oh. Apparently the return policy doesn't extend to that gift. I couldn't return it, and I couldn't get a gift card. But what I could get is a time to figure out what to do with my life and how to change who I was. Have you ever had one of those moments when all of a sudden something happens and you wonder, how did I get here? That was me standing in the parking lot. And in that moment, I decided, I'm going to go do what I love. I am going to go play football. And so I did. And after the first season, I'm standing beside my Jeep, and my friend's wife walks past me and says, "Thank you for agreeing to coach the boys this year. They are so excited." And I said, wait, what? First practice at 5:30. Be there on Tuesday. I've been voluntold. Have you ever been volunteered to do something that somebody else knew needed done, but they had no interest in doing it themselves?
Yeah.
Congratulations, you've been voluntold. I'm driving home, I'm thinking, I don't even have kids myself. How can I possibly coach other people's kids? This is a bad idea. So I did what any rational person would do. I said yes. And I went to the first practice that Tuesday. And as I was standing there, I felt this little tug back in my shirt. When I turned around and looked, it was little Danny. Danny was decked out in all the baseball gear, including a mouthful of C's that made him look like a rabid chipmunk. And he tugged on my shirt and said, "Okay, coach, I'm here for practice." "Danny, what are you wearing?" "Well, Mom didn't know if I'm righty or lefty, so she bought me 2 gloves." "Oh boy, this isn't going to work out well. Let's go out to the field and I'll throw you a ball. Because really, if you throw someone a ball and they have on 2 gloves, theoretically they should catch it with one of them, right?" So we went to the grass and I tossed him the ball. "I got it." Oh. "Okay, Danny. All right, you have a ball now, and it's laying in front of you. How are you going to throw that to me?" And he looked and he goes, "Oh, I got it." And he threw down both gloves, picked up the ball, and threw it 2 hands to nobody in particular. Oh, I knew why I had been voluntold. Nobody else was foolish enough to say yes. That first season, our 0-12 record really didn't explain our level of incompetence. Danny wasn't even the worst part of the season. In the middle of a game, my left fielder laid down, took off his pants, and started making snow angels in the grass.
Oh, man.
During a game. And at the end of the season, you know what happened? The parents said, "Would you come back next year?" Had they not been watching our games? But they said the most amazing thing. Our kids knew very well what they can't do. You just showed them a possibility of what they can do. You've given them the opportunity to turn the page in their story, to close a painful chapter and open a new one. You gave them the gift of time. That's the greatest gift anybody can get. Wow. For 5 years, I sat on a bucket, throwing batting practice, catching pitchers, hitting grounders. It was the greatest time of my life. Because every time I hit a grounder, I wasn't teaching the kid to keep his head down and gator the ball. I was teaching him to fail, pick himself up, and try again. Every time I drew a line in the sand and taught a kid how to hit a curveball, I was really teaching him how to handle the curveballs life is about to throw to him. The best lesson that I taught anybody is that just because you fail does not make you a failure. Those parents taught me about the gift of time. But as I looked around, there was one lesson that we all learned as we absorbed our gift of time. And that was a lesson taught to us by the people that ran the league. See, Hunters Creek baseball was run on a shoestring budget out of a garage by Todd and Gina Cassidy, who are sitting in the 3rd row. And they did it not because they thought they had the next major league player. They did it because they thought they had a community worth investing their gift of time to help grow. And the parents and the coaches and the kids looked to them as role models and said, those Mavericks, those are the people that we want to be when we grow up. And I couldn't have been more thankful that my gift of time was brought out by two people I had never met in my life until I got voluntold to coach the worst team in the league. An interesting thing happened along the way. Somewhere along the way, the teacher became the student. And those kids and those parents taught me, you can't rewrite history. You can't erase out the parts of your story that you don't like. You don't get to edit anything in your story. You don't get a chance to do over, you get a chance to do better. It's okay to fail, as long as you fail forward. I thought when I left retail that I knew exactly what I had done in my career. I thought I knew why I did it, and I thought I knew who I was. I was completely wrong. I learned in baseball that somewhere along the line, after I left accounting and showed up on a field, that I had learned to invest the best of what I had in people. Throughout my career, I'd invested in the growth of others to help them become the best that they could possibly be. That is what I did. Not all of us start in a place where we want to be. And sometimes we need somebody else to invest in us, to help pull us up, so that we can take a step forward and go where we were meant to go. That's why I did it. And I was told my entire life, nice guys finish last. Well, I learned, they're just playing a different game. That's who I am. So what about you? How are you investing your gift of time? How are you telling your story? Are you telling your story in the first person, actively engaged in getting the best you can out of your life? Or are you sitting back, eating popcorn, drinking a vat of soda, and complaining because you would have cast the characters differently in your own story? We all have this choice that we make. And the question that I have for you that I want you to walk away with today, how are you writing your story? Is your story like the book or like the movie based on the book? Do you need to turn the page? Do you need to close a chapter? Do you need to open a new one? Do you need to help somebody else become a better version of themselves? We only get one chance. We only have so much time. We can't make more of it, but at the end we can look back and say, my time wasn't just for me. My time was for us. Go forward and give your gift of time to somebody who needs it. And I guarantee you'll never, ever look at your story the same way, ever again.
Did anyone have any questions for Scott? Questions? Rich?
When you ran out of the accounting office,
Yeah.
did the boss ever call you, say, where's Scott? Did anybody know where you went?
They were so happy I was gone that the least of their worries was where I went. It was thank God he left. I imagine there was probably a happy dance somewhere, and somebody probably won a bet or something. That's how long that would last.